Hi, this is Kylie with Fem and Flow. I hope everyone's having a great day. Today, I'm going to talk about morphogenic field, reality creation, and quantum healing. And of course, we go on a few different tangents that I find extremely interesting. On many of my episodes, I go over the quantum physics of how we create our reality. We are constantly creating our reality whether we know it or not. So once we learn the mechanics behind it, we can become conscious creators and be very intentional about it. Today, we are going to expand on what I've been teaching. Specifically, we are going to get into morphogenic fields. First, I'll go over the basis of what I've already been teaching on other episodes, and then I'll expand on that. If you've listened to other episodes, the first part of this might be a refresher, but then we tie that into some new concepts. This experience or reality is observer dependent. Nothing actually exists without a consciousness observing it. As a being in this experience, we are operating with a body, soul, and consciousness. I refer to this as our Holy Trinity. Our soul and consciousness is everlasting, and our body is our tool we use to interact in physical experiences. And we have different bodies and different experiences. Our soul is basically our information data bank and is a storage of energy that connects to all of the knowledge, lessons, and experiences we have picked up and gathered from our eternal lives. Our consciousness is our perspective, and our consciousness projects our reality. Our body is our tool for our consciousness to interact in this physical experience, and our consciousness is projecting what we see in this reality. Our bodies are electromagnetic and have a toroidal flow of energy around them. The toroidal field is a donut-shaped energy field radiating around the body. This energy field around our body is how we are constantly communicating energetically with the quantum field. The quantum field is endless strings of energy vibrating at different frequencies, and the strings are waves of energy. The quantum field can also be called zero-point energy or zero-point energy field. The quantum field also is a term that goes back to the 9 different dimensions we can currently access energetically. When I talk about the different dimensions, we are just talking about the quantum field in more detail. Everything is energy vibrating at different frequencies. Due to the false matrix that was put around Earth, and specifically put in the 4th dimension, our creations or manifestations take some time to come into fruition. In comparison, outside of this, in the physical experiences that fully resonate with all of the higher dimensional energy and are what we archetypally call heaven, we can instantly manifest or instantly create in our reality. We are moving into full resonance now, so that is the point of this episode. The point is to talk about instant creation and quantum healing. The way I've been teaching is still super relevant because that should be our status quo, and that should be how we live our daily lives. So once we understand this concept and just start living by that, we're just in this flow state of constantly creating our reality. Each emotion holds a unique frequency or vibration, and you can search the Hawkins map of consciousness if you want a visual of this. When we feel or radiate an emotion, that is sending out a frequency via our toroidal flow of energy, and that's going out into the quantum field where there is every possible outcome. And this is where the concept of morphogenic fields comes into play. A morphogenic field is essentially an energetic blueprint. When I say the quantum field has every possible outcome, specifically it has morphogenic fields or energy blueprints for every single idea, concept, and creation that any consciousness has ever thought of. Before I talk more about morphogenic fields and connect it to the different dimensions, I'll give a different definition of morphogenic fields. I'll read off what Grok AI says about morphogenic fields. A morphogenic field is a concept from developmental biology originally proposed by the British biologist Paul Weiss and later expanded on by Rupert Sheldrake. Here's a brief overview. Here's the traditional biological context, and this is related to developmental biology. In the traditional sense, morphogenic fields refer to the fields of influence within an organism where cells are organized and differentiated into specific forms or patterns during development. These fields are thought to guide the differentiation of cells so that they organize into tissues, organs, and ultimately the whole organism with its specific shape and structure. Now we'll talk about Rupert Sheldrake's concept, and this is tied into morphic resonance. Sheldrake proposed an extension of this idea into a more holistic and somewhat controversial theory called morphic resonance. According to Sheldrake, morphogenic fields are not just physical, but also contain a kind of memory or influence from similar past organisms, affecting how new organisms grow and behave. This theory suggests that 1. Organisms are shaped not only by genes and physical environment, but also by an invisible field that carries information from previous similar organisms. And then 2, this field influences habits, instincts, and even collective behaviors across species. So that was all off Grok AI. Now back to my own words. So, the idea of a morphogenic field doesn't just apply to biological life, but also to ideas and concepts. And also, here's a fun fact. A tree's morphogenic field is how a tree grows straight up against gravity. Okay, now let's tie morphogenic fields to the different dimensions of energy that I talk about constantly. Morphogenic fields are 6-dimensional. The sixth dimension is ruled by sacred geometry. A morphogenic field puts a geometrical blueprint for the pure creation energy to take form. This ties to the episodes on the 9 different dimensions we can currently access energetically. Remember, source or God energy is 8th dimensional energy. This is pure light, creation energy, the highest vibrational energy you can get. The lower dimensions, 7 through 1, put this pure creation energy into motion. You can view the dimensions as energetic filters that bring the energy into action. Energy flows through the 7th dimension, where the light of the 8th dimension becomes sound, specifically sound vibrations. Then it flows through the 6th dimension, where sound vibrations become forms. Specifically, these geometric forms of the 6th dimension are morphogenic fields or energy blueprints. Then from there, energy filters through the 5th dimension, which gives life, creativity, and bliss. It's the realm of miracles, giving this energy and forms life. Then the energy filters through the 4th dimension, where the physical fairy tale land is programmed. It sets the vibe of the physical experiences. Then, of course, we get to the 3rd dimension, which is the realm of biological life, and where we physically come into this experience. Then, like I mentioned, our everlasting and eternal non-physical soul and consciousness are given physical bodies so we can interact in this physical experience and create our reality based off the energetic frequencies we are radiating. We live and build our eternal lives in many different experiences. Most of these experiences are total bliss. We control how our body looks. We can instantly manifest. We can instantly manifest and create our reality. And it's what we archetypally call heaven. There's a ton of stuff I could go on and on about. This current Earth realm has been a different case, though. because the fourth dimension was hijacked and a false matrix was created to cut off higher dimensional energies. And remember, the fourth dimension is the unseen, the non physical realm that sets the vibe and the programming for this physical experience. So if you hijack that, you can hijack this reality essentially. I go more in depth on other episodes if you're interested. But let's go back to how we create our reality. We can create specific things, or if you aren't sure what you want exactly, just create your reality with flow and ease. And by that, I mean just live in and radiate high vibration emotions and just attract energy based on your own vibe that you're putting out. Like attracts like. You'll attract in energy based on your own vibration. Because, like I was saying before, when we radiate an emotion, we are sending out a specific frequency. That frequency is going out into the quantum field where there are endless outcomes. Here's where I'll dive a little deeper than normal. So, specifically, when we send out the frequency, it goes to the eighth dimension source energy or God. Like attracts like, and the wave of energy changes into a particle of the same vibration of the emotion you sent out. That is when that particle filters through the different dimensions of energy, including the sixth dimension, where the energy takes form as a morphogenic field. Then the morphogenic field will eventually take form and be created in third dimension reality. So when it comes to creating our own reality, this is the longer way we've been doing. And we will keep doing it this way still, but we will soon have the power to skip the longer process and instantly create in our reality. And we basically do that by just going straight to that quantum field or 0 point energy field. And to do that, we're using our own body as the intermediary. But I'll get to that in a second. Even with the long way, I've talked about ways we can be intentional about it. And one way is with that intention emotion exercise that I talk about. With this exercise, we write down our intentions and then we write down the emotions we would expect to experience once the intention comes into fruition. You write down the intention as if you already have it. Then after, you meditate and visualize the intentions and feel the emotions. That is you intentionally sending out that frequency into the quantum field. Then, even if you don't have specific intentions, just living in high vibration emotion sends out that frequency. But with this, you also want to get your brainwaves in theta. That's essentially flow state and creator mode, and I'll talk more about that later. With the long way I just mentioned, we are sending out frequency and then letting it come back to us via our toroidal flow of energy. And that toroidal flow of energy is around our electromagnetic body. I say these words again and again just to really drive home that our body is literally our energetic tool to interact in this physical experience. It is so, so important. And it's so important that it's healthy and able to properly regulate this energy. Now I'll talk about the shorter way. And this way will eventually lead to instant creation. While under the false matrix of Earth, we may not be able to instantly manifest quite yet, but this way still will be quicker. This is also how quantum healing is done. Quantum healing is relevant now, even under the false matrix. We can quantum heal others, we can quantum heal our pets, and we can quantum heal ourselves. We also can help heal Mother Gaia. With the longer way, we are sending out the frequency, and with the shorter way, we are pulling in the energy and using our electromagnetic body as our tool and intermediary for creation. To do the shorter way, we must have a healthy body, our energetic system must be working properly, our chakras must be aligned and spinning, Our nervous system must be regulated, etc. This is why I talk on and on in other episodes about related topics and about the health of our body. The dark global elite know we have this power of creation, so they've done everything in their power to brainwash, program, and poison us so we don't wake up to this. And if you want 2 quick, easy tips to get started here, 1 is to stop drinking alcohol, and 2 is to stop eating fast food and processed junk food. Food can be poison or medicine, and the food industry has been completely hijacked for this dark purpose. It even goes beyond just making profit and making money. It's no coincidence that alcohol culture is so prevalent as well. I've talked about this before, but I gave up drinking a few years ago, and it's so weird that you are questioned more when you don't drink this poison than when you do. Also, there's no way I would be able to tap in, connect in this way, and get these messages if I was still drinking alcohol. Alcohol just shreds your energetic field and your energetic body. Alcohol and the poisons in fast food and processed food completely put a damper and hijack our frequency. And everything relies on our energy and our frequency. In addition to having a healthy body and energetic system, we also need to have a healthy brain and regulated nervous system. We need to get our body out of fight or flight so we can step back and be an observer. We need to be fully in control of our emotions. Specifically, in addition to having a healthy body and energetic system, we need our brain to be in a state where it is mainly in theta waves. Theta waves are flow state. This next part came from Grok AI again. Theta waves are associated with deep relaxation and can be experienced during meditation, hypnosis, or deep relaxation. Theta waves are prominent during REM sleep, which is when most dreaming occurs. Theta waves are linked with enhanced creativity, intuition, and the ability to make connections between seemingly unrelated ideas. Theta waves are believed to play a role in memory formation and retrieval. They can facilitate the encoding of new information into long-term memory. Engaging in activities that increase theta brain waves can lead to reduced stress, reduced anxiety, and an overall sense of calm. Some say theta states can promote healing by reducing stress and encouraging a state conducive to physical repair. You can induce theta waves by getting into a meditative state. Meditation, especially forms that focus on relaxation or visualization. You can also listen to binaural beats and music or sounds designed to create theta wave frequencies in the brain. Okay, that was all off of Grok AI. Now back to my own personal commentary. Music like Bach can also get your brain waves in theta. Bach made it in my Spotify Wrapped this year. Meditation and specific music or frequencies are great if you are just getting started, but eventually you will start to get into theta waves in your waking life. Some say you can be in theta waves in your waking life if you are a master meditator, but it is easier than it sounds. I don't know, when I think of master meditator, I think of a monk just meditating all day, but it is not that extreme and not that hard. You will be able to get into theta when you walk and spend time in nature, for example. It's literally just flow state. This is the state where we are tapped in and in creator mode. It's the state where our brain flips that switch, where we are really connecting and popping off in the quantum. So we need a healthy body so we can properly radiate our energy and frequency. And we need a healthy nervous system and brain so we can tune our receiver to the correct channel to be in creator mode, aka theta. And then we need healthy high vibe emotions so we are sending out high vibration frequencies. View our body as our energetic tool, our brain waves as different channels, and our emotions as frequencies. These are the building blocks to creating our own reality. When your channel is on theta, you are in creation mode and you are just flowing and vibing in that creation state. Before my huge spiritual awakening, I definitely used to be stuck in fight or flight, and my nervous system was absolutely dysregulated. I talk about this on an early podcast episode. I did things to heal my nervous system. I started meditating, taking walks in nature where I was really mindful. I spent a lot of time in solitude, etc. Truly, I am a different person. I spend most of my day truly at peace and spend the majority of my time in flow state now. Okay, while I was reading from Grok, this part also came up, and this is hilarious to me. Grok has a section about the cautions of the dominance of theta in waking states. This is funny. It says, while theta waves are associated with positive states, an abnormal increase or dominance of theta in waking states can be linked to cognitive impairment, ADHD, or other neurological conditions. I'm not a doctor, so take this as you wish, but this seems very convenient that mainstream science, aka dark global elite funded science, cautions about too much theta. Caution, you may wake up, see the false matrix, and learn to be the creator of your reality. Caution, you may stop letting Earth false matrix fourth dimensional influences control you. Caution, you may see this reality for what it is. You may see past the brainwashing. But again, take this how you wish. I understand some may listen to me and question even where I get this information. Some may say, all right, just trust me, bro. We see that on some social media comments sometimes. But truly, I get this info because I live in flow state and I spend most of my time in theta. It works for me. It's also funny because it's not even extreme, hard, or weird. Just meditate, spend time in solitude, and go on mindful walks in nature. Just chill and be at peace. Just keep doing that and your path will unfold. Okay, I love a good tangent, but now let's pull it back. Okay, let's go back to the short way I was talking about. For the short way, where we are using our body as the tool and intermediary, we are pulling the energy to and through us instead of sending the frequency out. This short way is literally straight up co-creating with God energy. We want our brainwaves to be in theta. Like I said, we can eventually get to a point where we are in theta for most of our waking state, but we can also meditate to do this. Once we're in theta waves, here's a formula we can use. I will assume we do this from a meditative state. Before you get into your meditative state, visualize the morphogenic field of what you want to create in your reality. State your intention out loud. I am going to create blank. If you prefer, you can close your eyes. Anchor in source or God energy with your heart chakra. Breathe in and feel or imagine this high frequency light pulling into your heart. Your heart and your chest may feel very expansive or magnetic. Some may even see light in their third eye. Some may just feel the energy or know it's there. We create with pure God or source energy. In this way, we are co-creating with God. Once you feel anchored in, with your next breath out, visualize and feel the breath moving through your chakra system. Feel and visualize it going through each chakra and cleansing them. Visualize them all aligned and spinning. Our chakras are our energy centers of the body. Now, from your root chakra, visualize a cord going from your root into the morphogenic field of what you are creating. Remember, the morphogenic field can be an object, an idea, a concept, etc. It doesn't have to be something physical. It can even be a situation in your reality. With every breath in, anchor in pure source energy. And with every breath out, visualize pouring this energy into the morphogenic field of what you are creating. Remember, where intention goes, energy flows. Keep doing this until you have the feeling it is complete. And then always end in gratitude. Also remember, at the current time under the false matrix, we can't instantly manifest or create just yet, but that's what we're moving into. This method will speed up the creation process though versus the longer method I talked about. Remember, with the longer method, we are sending out energy, but with the shorter method, we are pulling energy to us and using our body as an intermediary. We can also use this method for quantum healing. Instead of pouring the energy into the morphogenic field of what you want to create, pour it into what you are healing essentially. You can also do grid work this way and help heal and assist Mother Gaia. We are way more powerful than we realize. A lot of truth has been hidden from us to keep us controlled. Our true divinity has been hidden from us. Everyone has this power. It is not a spiritual gift that only a few people have. Everyone can do this. We just have to navigate all the brainwashing and lies we've been told. I talk about this on other episodes. I talk about how we need to have a healthy body so we can anchor in higher dimensional energies. I talk about how to specifically anchor in different dimensional energies. And I talk about the lies we've been told to prevent us from doing this. We do not need spiritual gurus. We have the power to be our own guru. We just need to do specific things so we can properly connect and anchor in this energy. It's very normal things too. The ways we anchor in this energy and get our body healthy are very normal. It's not weird at all. Listen to the other episodes on dimensions and energy. You'll see what I mean. Very normal things. I have one more small topic to mention before we end the episode. I was going to talk about it when I was talking about the quantum field and what that means exactly, but sometimes my tangents go a little long before I swing back to the point of it all. So I thought, okay, I won't keep expanding that section. I'll come back to that at the end. So here I want to talk about the Akashic Records. The Akashic Records also ties to the quantum field. The Akashic Records is a specific place in the quantum field. The Akashic Records are thought of as a metaphorical library or a database stored in the non-physical plane of existence. Specifically, the Akashic Records are in the fifth dimension. The records contain all human experiences, including past lives, simultaneous lives, thoughts, feelings, and future possibilities, providing insight into one's soul's journey, life purpose, and universal truth. The fifth dimension Akashic records are greatly tied to the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension on Earth can get a bad rap, but that's just because it was hijacked by the dark global elite parasitic beings and a false matrix was put into place. In the totally free realms that fully resonate with higher dimensional energies and are archetypally what we call heaven, the fourth dimension is what creates fun. The fourth dimension is the programming that sets the vibe and creates the matrix that adds a little pizzazz to the physical experience. The fourth dimension is the realm of archetypes, myths, and the collective mind. In the totally free realms, the fourth dimension programming comes straight from the Akashic Records, and they have an energetic exchange back and forth. In the totally free realms, the archetypes, myths, and programming aligns with universal truth. And like I said, knowledge and all of this universal truth is essentially stored in the Akashic Records. On Earth, under the false matrix, we know that is not the case, and the dark global elite attempt to brainwash society away from universal truth. They try to invert the truth. And truth is aligned with God's divine order. And I talk about how Satanism is actually taking what is aligned with God's divine order and what is natural and inverting it. And that inversion cuts us off from anchoring in higher dimensional energies. See how everything is literally so connected? I thought that was really interesting, so I just wanted to pop back in and give that little take of information. Okay, so that is all for this episode. I hope it was interesting. I hope you liked it. If you did, please subscribe and give me a 5-star review. And also, like I mentioned before, I have started paying more attention to the wording on the transcript so it all makes sense. And I've been posting that on a Google Drive. So if you prefer reading instead of listening, or you've already listened and now you want to go get some specific information from it, definitely go check out the Google Drive and look through the different transcripts. I love you all and have a great week.